Did Blake Lively try to extort Taylor Swift? Blake was trying to extort.
Blake Lively is spiraling out of control after Taylor Swift revealed some disturbingly dark secrets about her during a live broadcast.
This is nuts. This is a new document coming in from Brian Friedman just literally minutes ago.
Taylor's legal team had handled everything until now, but the blackmail accusations were too intense, forcing Taylor to finally speak for herself.
This is an extortion attempt accusation. It's pretty awful.
It turns out Blake wasn't just a jealous former friend. She's been pretending to be the victim for far too long, and now the truth is catching up with her.
Swift released a statement of support for Miss Lively, intimating that if Miss Swift refused to do so, private text messages of a personal nature in Miss Lively's possession would be released.
Court documents reveal that Blake's lawyer, Michael Gottlieb, reached out to Taylor's legal counsel with a threat. Unless Taylor issued a public statement backing Blake, sensitive private texts would be exposed.
Fair parties counsel are further informed and believe that a representative of Miss Swift addressed these inappropriate and apparently extortionate threats and at least one written communication transmitted to Mr. Gottlieb.
But that wasn't the end of it. The letter also alleges Blake asked Taylor to delete their message history, an act that, if true, could be seen as witness tampering and destruction of evidence. Taylor's lawyers reportedly responded in writing, condemning the demand and firmly refusing.
Basically, they're trying to subpoena Taylor Swift.
That exchange is now central to the subpoena filed by Baldwin's attorneys. It's not just hearsay anymore. The claim is now backed by sworn legal documents and being considered a matter of federal discovery. What made it explosive is how Friedman played it.
Specifically, the Wayfair Parties Council are informed and believe, based on information from a source who is highly likely to have reliable information, that Miss Lively requested that Taylor Swift delete their text message.
He didn't drop this revelation at a press conference or through a leak. He waited. He let Blake and Ryan Reynolds file their joint motion to suppress Taylor's subpoena, and only then did he submit the letter in open court, knowing it would become public record. It wasn't a leak, it was a calculated move.
Michael Gottlieb of Wilk Farr, counsel for the Lively defendants, contacted a Venable attorney, that's Taylor Swift's company, who represents Miss Swift, and demanded that Miss Swift release a statement of support for Miss Lively.
This tactic not only highlighted Blake's alleged efforts to sway Taylor, it reshaped the whole lawsuit. Until now, Blake portrayed herself as a victim of a smear campaign, emotionally wrecked by Baldwin's actions.
Those communications that the Wayfair parties seek to obtain by way of subpoena, as they would evidence an attempt to intimidate and coerce a perceived witness in this litigation.
But now that narrative is falling apart. If she was trying to pressure a third party, especially someone as famous as Taylor Swift, into defending her, then the foundation of her lawsuit begins to fall apart.
Oppose the motion to squash, etc. Ron, this isn't something you just do willingly.
Meanwhile, Taylor has remained publicly silent, but her actions speak volumes. Her legal team is working quietly behind the scenes, likely negotiating with Friedman to keep Taylor from having to give a full deposition.
This implies they have a very reliable source and authority, no? That Blake was trying to extort.
At the same time, Taylor's refusal to publicly support Blake, even after being directly named, says a lot. Known for standing by her friends, Taylor's silence feels more like a quiet rejection than neutral distance.
You have allegations that there's witness tampering or deletion of text messages, which what we call spoliation of evidence. That is a red flag.
This entire situation is now being reanalyzed through the lens of that legal letter. What once seemed like subtle distance now appears as calculated self-protection. What once looked like silence now feels like a refusal. Refusal to be used, misled, or dragged into legal chaos under false pretenses.
And if you get a declaration from somebody, either a mole in Taylor Swift's camp, or a communication that was from Baldoni to Friedman, they've probably already made the determination they're going to share that with the judge.
Taylor Swift didn't out Blake Lively through a statement or testimony. She did it through steady, intentional detachment. And now, with legal documents exposed, that silence is being seen for what it really was. the slow unraveling of a friendship rooted in one-sided loyalty.
To satisfy the judge's need to be like, listen, this is a pretty big allegation. You have to support it somehow, other than I just have to take your word for it before I let you have a shot at examining Taylor Swift directly.
The moment Taylor Swift's name surfaced in the court documents, her lawyers at Venal LLP sprang into action. Sources close to the case confirm that, as of May 2025, Taylor was officially subpoenaed in Justin Baldwin's countersuit against Blake Lively. Within 48 hours, her team had already filed a motion to block it. Venal wasn't negotiating, they were scrambling, because what began as a simple co-star dispute had turned into a federal tug-of-war with Taylor caught in the crossfire.
And there's no version where Blake can then blame this Michael guy. Like, well, they were acting without my interest. I mean, they are the attorneys for Blake. Is that something that she can then claim? Well, I didn't know they were doing this.
She could claim it. Whether or not it's believable or has any effect is another.
Taylor didn't volunteer to be involved. She didn't insert herself into the legal mess. It was Blake Lively's own lawyers who brought her in, and now they're trying to shut the door they opened. Just days after Taylor's subpoena became public, Blake and Ryan Reynolds submitted a letter to the judge arguing Taylor should be excluded from the case because she wasn't involved in the key events.
It's something else where Lively is on the ropes reacting to something that is so devastating, right? She had to react to the faux lawsuit in New York State. Now she has to react to this.
But that's the issue. Blake herself said otherwise. During her 2024 press tour, while promoting It Ends With Us, she repeatedly credited Taylor for her creative input.
The more you explain, the more you're losing, the more complicated it is. Like, yeah, this may have happened, or I have to blame my attorneys, or I have to blame this. It falls flat with regards to the overall narrative.
Blake claimed Taylor helped with casting, influenced music choices, and even appeared on set for pivotal scenes. These were not vague mentions. They were clear, public claims repeatedly used to boost the film's credibility.
The judge is going to take this really, really seriously and really may put Friedman's team like, listen, you've put this down in writing. Now I want to know why it is that what's the basis for this really big allegation? It's a huge allegation.
Now her team insists Taylor had no relevant information. The flip-flop is so extreme that even the judge reportedly questioned its validity during a private hearing in late April.
The stakes are so high. I think the judge is going to be very, very focused and want to do the right thing, but do it in a very transparent way before making a final decision, which will, I think, require telling Friedman, you need to make a showing, a factual evidentiary showing of how it is you even come to this conclusion.
What really got attention wasn't just the inconsistency, it was the timing. Just a day before Blake's team filed their motion to shield Taylor, Brian Friedman submitted a letter accusing Blake of trying to intimidate and manipulate Taylor behind closed doors.
She made this claim, like, what I do is protected, and there's this defense of whether or not it's done in bad faith. If there are text messages talking about suing Baldoni, motivations for suing Baldoni, or doing this initial civil rights complaint, that is directly relevant to Baldoni's defense.
In the letter, he referenced statements from a trusted source saying Blake asked Taylor to delete their texts and pressured her to speak out in Blake's defense. The document was filed in U.S. District Court for D.C., docketed under Baldoni versus Lively, and is now a key part of discovery.
Is going to be very concerned about these allegations. We'll do one of two things: either make a ruling or ask for a conference and ask directly how the attorneys learn this. Now, do the attorneys have to reveal that? They may not have to under what's called a work product doctrine.
This leads us back to the subpoena. Friedman's team clarified they weren't asking for a wide-ranging deposition, just proof of communication between Taylor Swift, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their respective lawyers. The point isn't how much Taylor knew. The point is whether she was exploited or worse, manipulated to twist the story.
And obviously, if they get this and prove that, that's a huge win for Justin, no? To show that she's telling parties to delete texts and intimidating them, that changes the whole game, no?
Under Rule 26 of Federal Civil Procedure, parties can request any material relevant to their claims or defense, including third-party communications that show intent, fraud, or coercion. Taylor's messages, especially the ones Blake allegedly asked her to delete, falls squarely into that legal zone.
This is the faux or the pretend lawsuit to justify the production of text messages. That's first one, right? And now, like, what is this? Now there's this other thing of trying to suppress evidence, and that would be another huge piece of evidence that the judge can justifiably, if it's again appropriately put before the judge, going like, look at Lively's team, look at how they're acting.
As of May 13th, 2025, Taylor's attorneys haven't fully complied, but they've admitted holding written communication between Taylor's side and Blake's legal counsel. That alone gave Baldwin's team enough ground to officially oppose the motion to quash. And although the judge hasn't issued a decision yet, the court is now reviewing the documents in camera, meaning privately in the judge's chambers. If even a single message supports claims of coercion or manipulation, Blake's credibility takes a legal blow that her lawsuit might not survive.
This can have huge repercussions, which is probably, as I'm talking about it, I think the judge will want to have a conference and be like, listen, this is serious what you're alleging. I want to know how you found this out. I don't know if the judge is really entitled to it.
And even if Taylor never enters a courtroom, the damage is already done. Publicly, she's remained silent. Legally, her team is cooperating just enough to stay compliant. But in terms of reputation, she's already made her move. And that move was silence. And just when things couldn't get more chaotic, the infamous Instagram unfollow happened.
And Blake was the one who was using it, and more we're seeing that was the case. It's why Travis Kelce clearly unfollowed Ryan on Instagram. There's been a lot of this drama.
On May 9th, 2025, just hours after Taylor's subpoena became public, Travis Kelce unfollowed Ryan Reynolds. It was quiet, no public announcement, no comment. But fans caught on immediately. Within 2 hours, screenshots were everywhere. Reddit, Threads, TikTok commentary, fan pages. And unlike before, when social media was brushed off as petty, this time it hit with force.
Why else would he have done such a thing? It's starting to fall in line, and I wonder if Taylor is going to start working with Justin's side to be like, you know what, I'm not getting involved in the drama, but fine, depose me, let's prove they came after me. At this point, it is what it is, I gotta legally oblige.
And Ryan wasn't just a casual acquaintance. He was part of the same celebrity inner circle, constantly seen with Taylor at concerts, dinners, and games. Ryan even sat beside Travis at the Grammys after-party in February 2024. So when that online bond was broken, no one took it as coincidence. It was a statement, and it was loud.